thought he would do something the same. A bit like me, for instance. A lot of people said that maybe you should stick with TV. I said, no, I'm going to do the radio. I think you'll be the judge of whether this has worked out for me. But yes, there's so many Neil Young tracks to choose from, and they're all so incredible in so many different ways. But this is one that I think probably you wouldn't have heard, from an album called Zuma. This is Pardon My Heart. Neil Young from the album Zuma, and that's Pardon My Heart, and that's a beautiful track. If you've never been a fan of Neil Young, I don't see how that fails to win you over. Now, a lot of the music that I get, and a lot of the music that's played on the show, is stuff that's been recommended to me by friends, such as Dan and Harry, who are here. Otherwise, I'll probably get it from listening to the radio, or from the free giveaway CDs that you get on magazines. I don't like to just experiment with music, you know, I like someone else to pay for it first. And one of my friends is a guy called Dave Greenwood, who used to send some excellent compilations to me with such an amazing assortment of different tracks. Dave, you knew, Dan, I should say, you know Dave, don't you? Because
I do remember him, yeah, from years back.
We went to university with him, and how would you characterise the man?
He was always a nice fellow, Dave, but he was, it was like he had a dark secret that he wasn't letting on. There was something about him. There was a touch of the night, I think, is the phrase, isn't it?
Well, I'm glad you've been so positive, because he's on the line right now.
Oh, no.
Secret's out, Dan.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dave. I'll shoot off now, yeah? I'll see you later, and I'll leave you with Steve.
Dave, how are you, mate?
Great, thank you, Steve. Love the show.
Thank you very much indeed. You've not actually been able to listen, have you?
No, I was just guessing.
No, just in theory, you love the concept of me having a radio show.
Well, yeah, you know, it's a start.
Exactly. Thanks very much. I hope to move on from here. Now, the reason I'm in touch with you, Dave, is because firstly, I want you to recommend a track that I'll play, and I might come to you in future weeks for a similar recommendation, because you are, as I say, a person of excellent taste, and I admire you greatly.
Well, very well said, thanks.
Thank you very much. But I think, I'll be honest with you, I phoned Dave up just before the show. I haven't spoken to him for quite a while. When was the last time we spoke, Dave?
About 5 years.
About 5 years ago. And so I phoned him up.
We're quite close friends, though.
we're good buddies. And I phoned him up, 5 years, later, and said, listen, I'm doing a radio show later, would you come on? Would you maybe just introduce a track, because you've got excellent taste, and it would be nice. And I like to think that this is very much what the show's about. It's a meeting place for friends with a music taste, and I include the listeners in that circle of friends. Although if you see me in the street, don't come up and talk to me. It's not that kind of friendship. But of course, come up and say hello. But then don't bother me. Don't expect. Anyway, so anyway, I thought, I'll give Dave a call, and I gave Dave a call, and he dropped this bombshell. Dave, what is the bombshell?
Well, the bombshell is, Steve, that like Boys to Men, I'm at the end of the road. I've run out of West. I'm at Land's End in Cornwall. Can you believe it?
Now, that's fair enough. Maybe you've just gone there on holiday, but surely there's more to it than that.
There is more to it, because as soon as possible I'm going to be leaving and walking all the way up to John O'Groat.
He's going to be walking from Land's End. That's a Steve round of applause right there.
Well, I haven't done it yet, but thanks.
Well, no, but even to kind of consider such a task is extraordinary.
It's insane, yes.
Are you doing this for charity?
Absolutely not. I'm doing it for myself. Although if people want to
You're not doing it for charity?
No. I've deliberately decided to shun all charities.
The idea that you couldn't even be bothered to get a little bit of sponsorship for a charity is just so bizarre.
Well, yes. That's true, but, I like to stub my nose at all things whenever possible.
Do you know what I think?
Including you.
Thank you very much. I imagine that there's going to be people from charities now coming, as you're walking, just heckling you from the side of the street with placards you could have given to cats' homes, all sorts.
I'm open to the highest bid, so if they want to get in touch with me, then they can do through you, no doubt.
How long? I don't know how that's going to work. How long will it take you to walk all this way?
Well, it depends on how the limp heals, but I imagine, 50, 60 days.
What?
2 months?
50 or 60 days?
Yep. It's a long way, Steve.
I'm aware of that, but, surely Beefy Botham did it faster than that, didn't
he? He was on an elephant, wasn't he?
He was what?
On an elephant? Or he had...
On an elephant?
Yeah.
Right, well anyway, I think it's time that it's good that you're spending a bit of time alone with yourself for 3 months to just, think about what you've done. But anyway, that means then that you'll still be walking, on next week's show and the show after.
I will,
That's fantastic, so we can catch up with you, find out how you're getting on.
Well, if you can find me, Steve, then I'm sure we can log back in.
Have you thought this through? I mean, have you made a plan? Are you staying in a B&B, or are you just sleeping rough?
My plan extends up to tomorrow, and then I'll kind of wing it from there.
Right.
But, it's up, isn't it? It's all up, so I'll just keep going that way.
Sure. I love the fact you've not thought this through. You're a maniac. Good. Well, this is extraordinary. Well, anyway, thank you so much for spending the time to talk to us. And I'm assuming
No
you're going to get fairly lonely. So we'll catch up with you next week. What track are you going to recommend for me this week?
Well, it's a track that you picked, Steve.
Well, I did, but only from the compilation you gave. You've ruined a little bit of the magic there of radio, Dave.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, I've had a long think about it, and the track that I've picked is the Beach Boys, It's About Time, which is from their 1970 album Sunflower, which apparently nobody bought, but in my opinion, it's better than Pet Sounds.
Blimey.
So it's a good one. It's it's all about success and failure, and how the secret of eternal happiness is within. And if we only understood that, then everyone would be in a better place. So it kind of speaks to the child in all of us.
Yes.
And it's a bit of a stomper.
Great. Well, I enjoy it. Thank you very much. That was wonderfully put, and I'm looking forward to the track enormously, although I know what it is. So again, I've broken the illusion. And good luck with the walk. And we'll speak to you after the first 800 miles.
Yeah, only 200 to go.
Best of luck, Dave.
Cheers.
Speak to you soon. The Stones' response to the success of disco music from 1978. That's "Miss You" and the album "Some Girls." It's worth digging out. It's a good album if you've not heard it. Okay, so Steve Merchant here, the Steve Show. It is 20 to 5 on a lazy Sunday afternoon, and we've been enjoying the music choices of my guests here, Dan and Harry. They are nobodies. I mean that in the best possible sense. They are just average Joes who have come in with music, and that's very much what this show's about. It's about us just being music fans, not music experts. And we encourage you, the listener, to get involved in future weeks. Don't start emailing and texting right now. We have not got the time or energy to look at those texts. So we have your final choices, gentlemen. Daniel, you are to kickstart us.
Yeah, I'm going to kickstart you. My third and final choice, and lest we forget, this is the decider, so
Yes.
it needs to be good.
Thank you for cranking up the tension,
Yeah.
because I was not in any way interested, so I'm glad that you reminded me.
Looking a bit laid back there, and I thought we need to ratchet it up a bit. And I think I've got a winner. Boca 45
Okay.
is the artist. The song is That's All. It's a cover version of a Genesis classic from 1983. So I think you'll be enjoying that. I know you're a big fan of Genesis.
This sounds very wayward, but it's interesting. You've really put all your eggs in this basket.
I think you'll be enjoying it. It's a very groovy, slightly lo-fi version of it. But maybe the music should speak for itself.
Why does it always seem to be?
That's all. Boca 45. That's Daniel's last choice in this clash of the mates who've brought in some music. We need a punchy name for this, guys. We've really got to think of something. And what can you tell me about Boca 45, Dan?
Well, I should declare an interest because I do know the guy behind Boca 45. He's called Scott Hendy. But this is from an album that was released in the latter part of last year, Vertigo Sounds. And there's a bit of a rawness there. I think you'll agree with that. But I like that. I think it gives it a bit of an edge. And it's a great little album with lots of grooves, a slightly 60s pop mentality on some of the other tracks, and highly recommended from Dan.
Is that a representative of the album?
It's representative of the sound, but it's the only cover version on it, so perhaps it stands out slightly for that reason. But the guy doing the vocals is a guy called Stepchild. That's not Scott on vocals. He produces the music, and I would say, yeah, if you like that, then you'll probably like the album. And if you hate it, well, don't bother.
Did you get a backhander for plugging this track?
I've
because
got
that contravenes every BBC. Bone in
no,
my body.
I've got nothing. All I want from this is the point that will give me victory, utter victory over Harry. That's the only. That's the only thing I'm after.
Enough. Harry, what are your thoughts on Boca 45?
Well, there's a lot at stake here now, obviously, Steve. I've got two main concerns. One, it's a cover. Did I detect the stench of irony? Don't like ironic
I'm not a fan of irony generally in music.
And my second, more overriding concern is, because that's a cover of Genesis stroke Phil Collins, is Collins going to get paid because we just played that? He doesn't need any more money.
That's a good point.
Why are we doing it?
Moreover, we've already played a cover version in this, in our notorious Mr. Cover
But
section.
you've only just made that rule up. I wasn't informed about this.
Well, I know, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but I think Harry would have to really go out of his way to be berserk.
I hate this.
to
I hate
fail in this
everything that's
particular
happening
challenge. Harry, introduce us to your track.
Yeah, I'm going to play Holding Back the Year by Lou Barlow. It's not a cover of a Simply Red song with an S missing. Lou Barlow, ex-Sebado frontman, he's back playing with Dinosaur Jr. now. Like you were saying earlier about singer-songwriters, there's a lot of good ones about. He's an excellent one, and this is a great track.
Holding Back the Year on Six Music, the Steve Show. And that's the final choice from good friend Harry. Dan, what did you make of that track?
Well, it was very nice, it was perfectly pleasant, but let me say this to you, Steve. A vote for Harry at this stage of the competition is a vote for beige, it's a vote for sensible shoes, a vote for a car in a car park at an out-of-town shopping mall, going round with the kids, you know, that's all I'm saying.
Whereas a vote for you is what?
Thought that far ahead, actually, to be honest, no. I've only thought about slagging off someone, not about bigging myself up, I'm afraid, so that's as far as I've got.
Don't make that mistake in the future. Harry, this is what I feel like. I feel like a beautiful woman who
you that one.
Thank you. You've asked out on a date. Firstly, you took me to a raucous indie club. I didn't particularly enjoy it. It wasn't my cup of tea. Next, you took me to a fey, jingly jangly wine bar. I didn't particularly enjoy that. Oh, hang on a minute. He's pulled something out of the bag. What's this? 2 tickets for singer-songwriter Lou Barlow. I've listened to him there on the stage, strumming away, lovelorn, melancholy, just him and a guitar, his beautiful voice. And I think I've looked across the room, I've seen your eyes, Harry. The music's filtered into my ears. Although I've fallen in love with him, you're the only one I can have that particular night.
You're sensing a depth in me that's just not there.
Exactly. Well, you have won me over with that track. I thought it was great. I've been a fan of Lou Barlow, and so therefore, consequently, I have to give you the point. You are the victor. Let's have a Steve Wright style
Thank
round
you
of
very
applause.
much. Cheers.
That's great news. Now listen, you too can be a winner at home with what can only be described as a fiendishly difficult pop music trivia question. Now what is happening here is that there's a pub quiz that I sometimes go to. It's a music quiz. It's hosted by a guy called Richard. Lovely guy. Very, very tricky though. Dan, you'll agree. Harry, you'll agree. You've been along. It's tough. It's very tough. You really need to know your onions. So this is a tricky question, and okay, you might think to yourself, I've heard lots of tricky questions. This is very tricky, and because I am worried that you, the Six Music listener, cannot be trusted, that you're going to rush off to the internet and immediately try and figure out the answer, I'm going to have to set a time limit. So whilst we'll set the question, we'll play a track, and you have to text in the answer before the end of that track. Otherwise, it rolls over to next week. 64046 is the number. Write that down. Get a pen. Quick. Hurry. Get a pen now, maybe it's by the lavatory. maybe you left it by the phone. Quick, you got it? Great. 64046. Let's play the question.
Hi, it's Richard here with another fiendishly difficult music question. What is the only Beatles song to have the songwriting credits Lennon, McCartney, Starkey, Harrison? What is the only Beatles song to have the songwriting credits Lennon, McCartney, Starkey, Harrison?
Text us if you know it, 64046. In the meantime, Nick Cave. A lot of people still do not take to Nick Cave. They think he's gloomy, they think he's goth. Listen to this. This is one of his greatest love songs, Love Letter. From the album No More Shall We Part, that's the magnificent Nick Cave and the song Love Letter. If you've not been a Nick Cave fan before, if you've just assumed that he was loud guitars and gothy haircuts, then how wrong you were. More fool you. I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there who've embarrassed themselves. That was, it turned out, a fiendishly difficult music question. A lot of people saying flying for the answer. We've had Jim in Belfast, Andrew in London, James in Norwich, all saying flying. Rob in Blackpool. Oh, dearie me, Rob. Please do not be texting in any more radio stations because... Dearie me, Yellow Submarine. Oh, go back to bed, mate. We've had a couple of right answers, but I'm still a little anxious. Did they look on the internet? It's difficult to say. They came in much later, about halfway through that song. But we'll let Richard give us the answer.
The question was, what is the only Beatles song to have the songwriting credits Lennon, McCartney, Starkey, Harrison? And the answer to that is a very short song on Let It Be called Dig It. And if anyone said flying on the Magical Mystery Tour, it wasn't Starkey, that was credited to Star.
Oh, dearie me, you poor fools. Oh, they've embarrassed themselves, haven't they? If you want to go along to Richard's music quiz, by the way, Monday evenings at Three Kings in Clerkenwell, it's worth going along, but you really need to know your onions. And I'll tell you the sort of guy who should be popping down, flying over from Dundee, is Graham Duff. He's only gone and done it. Well done, Duffy.
Well done, Duff.
That's good work. And is there a prize, or do you think the fact of knowing that is prize enough? Maybe we should try and seek out the biggest Six Music nerd. Maybe that's the way. We use these to identify who the biggest muso is out there in Six Music land. Okay, we've got a final tune. Coming up next, we've got Stuart McConey with the Freak Zone. I think we've enjoyed ourselves. Thank you to Dan, thank you to Harry. Final round of applause, Steve Wright style.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
And I'll leave you with a track by the Pogues. I'm a fairly recent convert to the Pogues, and if you don't believe that Shane MacGowan is one of the world's great romantic poets who just decided to live his life disguised as a homeless tramp, then listen to this beautiful song, A Rainy Night in Soho. See you next week.